everyone, and welcome back. This is going to be episode 2 of my podcast, Everything with Jade, and today I will be talking about Dance Marathon. For those of you who don't know what Dance Marathon is, it's basically a student-led organization that leads a dance marathon on their campus, whether it be a college campus or a high school campus, but it's usually college campuses, and they support a local children's hospital in their area. And it's just a lot of outreach and fundraising for their hospital that they're fundraising for. Dance Marathon is either 4 hours to 48 hours, just depends on how well the program is in the area that it's at. But usually they last around 24 hours because they're usually well-established programs at a university. So they tend to be around 24 hours, but it could be any time between that. But it's just non-stop dancing. There's a lot of dancing and activities and guest speakers from the hospital or other organizations. There's games and other fun events that are at the event. So it's honestly a really fun event to have. It's like a dance party kind of thing. So today I just want to talk about Dance Marathon and what exactly it is, the purpose of it, my personal experience with Dance Marathon, and the takeaways after leading a dance marathon program, and I guess some tips and advice to help you or your program increase further with your dance marathon that you have on your campus. So this dance marathon, or dance marathons in general, there are over 400 universities nationwide that participate, so it is a big event. More than 200,000 students participate in this event every single year, and it just grows and grows. I know a couple years ago, programs around the nation raised over $40 million for CMNH, which is Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. And that's just your local children's hospital. They're all a part of CMNH. And it's either hosted by a student organization or like Greek Life if their philanthropy is a part of CMNH. So if you don't know philanthropy, that's basically something that Greek Life is involved in. It's one, not charity, but it's one thing that we all fundraise for and we support. So each fraternity, each sorority has their own philanthropy that they do. Some of them are the same, but some of them are different. For instance, my sorority is Phi Mu, so our philanthropy is already Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, which works for us since we can do Dance Marathon. But other fraternities and sororities may be helping homeless people every year, or helping, animal shelters. So we all have our own philanthropy, which we do and we fundraise and support on a daily basis. So the purpose of a dance marathon is just to create awareness for your local CMNH hospital. I know a lot of people don't really, it just depends on how you're connected to the hospital. So if you were a patient at a hospital, and it's a children's hospital, so when you were a kid, you were a patient at a children's hospital, or your family member was, or you work at a hospital, you probably are more involved in working with a children's hospital. But if you have never really had a connection to a children's hospital, then you really probably haven't had that kind of connection or support for them. So it's something that we're just trying to bring more awareness to and show our local communities that this is something that is helping a lot of children and their families, and the money that we raise goes straight to the hospital. All the items that we donate go straight there for the kids. So it's just a great way to cause or make awareness for these children and to help them on their journey of whatever they have, and just to bring happiness to them and tell them that they're not alone and that we support them in their journey and everything like that. So Dance Marathon is a very, very good opportunity to be a part of. If your campus has it, I would definitely be involved in it, even if you're not involved in like the actual planning the event and behind the scenes. Like, go to the event. They're usually free, depending on the program. If they're like a bigger program, you have to raise like a certain amount of money just to get to the event. So that should tell you like it's a really big event because all these people are fundraising to try to get into this event. Other programs are free. Just depends, like I said, on the gravity and how big it is on the campus specifically. Another part of Dance Marathon is to fundraise and support the hospital. So usually when you're doing a Dance Marathon, you're raising as much money as you can, and all that money that you raise goes to the hospital. And then it's, again, bringing more awareness to the hospital because you're talking about the stories, you're talking about the children and everything like that. So it just brings a lot of awareness and support and fundraising to the hospital. And if you're on a campus, it brings your entire campus together. Usually dance marathons, there's like thousands of students that participate. Not only students, but local community members, family members of the hospital, the children that are at the hospital and currently being treated at the hospital come to dance marathons. So it's bringing together one campus for one cause. So not only is it just affecting the hospital, it's affecting the campus. It's an event that you all can participate in and come together no matter your differences, no matter if you support Greek life or not. Like, it's not about them, it's about the kids and about the fundraising and everything with that. So it's an amazing event that can bring together thousands of people from around the community for one cause. Now I want to talk a little bit about my own experience with Dance Marathon. I am in a sorority, like I stated, FIMU. I joined 4 years ago, and actually next week I am going alum, which means I am basically just an alumni of FIMU. So I'm not an active sister anymore, I'm just an alum member. So I was introduced to Dance Marathon my sophomore year of school. So before Dance Marathon was included, like I mentioned before, our philanthropy was already CMNH, so we already help our local children's hospital, Valley Children's, in Fresno or Madera. So we already did events to help Valley Children's Hospital, whether it be just like small fundraisers or Kids Day or anything like that. So when we thought of bringing Dance Marathon, not only to Fresno State, but to our members, it was brand new to all of us. We've never even heard about Dance Marathon before. We just saw videos about it, so we were all kind of, I guess, in it firsthand. Like, none of us have ever been to a dance marathon. We haven't even heard about it before we even started researching about it, so it was a brand new experience for all of us. So when we did that, I was really interested in it because when I joined, I loved our philanthropy off the bat. I thought that it was an amazing thing to be a part of, so I wanted to, be more involved in this event. So I actually became the assistant to the current philanthropy chair in sophomore year, which was my friend. And my sister, obviously. So I was her assistant throughout the entire process of Dance Marathon, helping her create the event and getting word out about it and, going to meetings and stuff like that. And it was the first time we brought it to Fresno State, so it was brand new to everybody. And even though we didn't have as much people go to the event, we still raised over $10,000, which was really an amazing thing to do. Like, our first event, we raised $10,000. Like, that was unbelievable. And in the past, our other philanthropies never raised that much, probably like $2,000, $3,000 at most. So it was just new to everybody that we actually raised that amount of money on our first Dance Marathon. So it was a very exciting thing to be a part of. So I honestly fell in love with it and wanted to be more involved. So I decided to run for philanthropy chair my junior year. And it's like elections and everything like that, so I had to be voted in to do it. And I got it. I was philanthropy chair because of, I guess, my hard work that I've done in my sophomore year as the assistant. So I had the experience of Dance Marathon and the experience of being with the philanthropy chair, so it was just a good fit for me to do it. So I wanted to make my Dance Marathon bigger and better and more successful, so I worked my butt off. I heard about DMLC, which is the Dance Marathon Leadership Conference that happens every summer, and I was extremely passionate about it and wanted to go really bad. And my chapter wouldn't cover it because it wasn't a conference that we usually would go to. Usually other conferences that help FIMU itself, we can go to and they get paid for, your travel and your stay and everything like that. But it was, like, again, Dance Marathon was new. Like, only a few FIMU chapters around the nation do it, so it wasn't like a big conference that we do every single year, and it's something that we are passionate about. But me specifically, I was like, I need to go to this. Like, this is gonna help not only me run Dance Marathon better, but my entire chapter run it better. So I was determined. I applied to my student government at my school, Fresno State. I applied to a whole bunch of grants to go, and I actually did get a $1,000 grant to go, but it was like reimbursed later, so I actually had to pay for the trip myself, which I did. I paid for my own flight, I paid for the ticket, which included the stay at the hotel, and I went to St. Louis over summer. I went myself to better myself as a leader in Dance Marathon and to better my chapter and my school and to help support and fundraise way more for Valley Children's. So I ended up going to St. Louis in July of 2019, and it was honestly an amazing experience. That was the first time I ever even flew anywhere by myself, like went anywhere by myself, anywhere. So it was like a lot of firsts for me. Like I flew by myself for the first time, went on a trip by myself. I was in a new state that I'd never been to, a new city. It was just a lot to handle, but I was ready for it. I was determined, and it was an amazing experience. It was a 3-day conference, and I met like a few girls on a Dance Marathon Facebook page, and we all ended up having like the same flights around the same time, so we all met together, and like I had a few friends that I was hanging out with the whole weekend, and then plus my roommate that I had that was randomized, but she was really nice too. So like it was really cool and a very fun experience, and I learned so much. I had like notebooks full of information. I was doing vlogs and everything like that because I was still, doing YouTube and everything then. But it was literally the best experience that I've ever had. I just felt so connected and so inspired and passionate about what I was doing. So going there was honestly the best decision I've made, because it reflected on how well we did at the Dance Marathon that I hosted. So I hosted Bulldogathon at Fresno State. I wanted to have its own name because usually at different universities there is like a Dance Marathon name for it. So a lot of there's like Iowa State Dance Marathon, just like different things called Dance Marathon, like with the state or with the university that they're at. So I wanted to bring Fresno State into it. So I called it Bulldogathon and actually got a trademark. So I called it Bulldogathon because our mascot is a bulldog, so I just thought it was really cute and it was Bulldogathon. So I really liked the name. So I became the executive director because I was philanthropy chair, which means I was in charge of hosting Dance Marathon. So I was the executive director, and I ended up raising over $22,000. So I increased $12,000 and some change from our first year to our second year. And now I will explain how I did that. So I took a lot of what I learned at DMLC over summer and applied it to my year as the executive director of Dance Marathon. So Dance Marathon is a really long process. Like it isn't just a couple months and you can have a successful fundraiser, an event. You need to do it over a year, and that's what I did. Like even though we had other events and stuff that I had to plan, my focus for the entire year was Dance Marathon. I honestly had meetings like literally every day for the most part, whether it was meeting with Greek and fraternity philanthropy chairs, their presidents, meeting with leadership boards on campus, meeting with businesses, and just a lot of meetings. So I literally dedicated my life for a year for Dance Marathon. And that is what you need to do. That's like my number one rule, I guess, of having a successful Dance Marathon. You need to have dedication and passion for what you're doing. Because if you don't, it's not going to be a good program at all. Like, you need not only your support, but you need the support around people around you. So I had a lot of support with my sorority, but a lot of our philanthropy events are based on the philanthropy chair and then their committee, so it wasn't like the entire chapter was helping, like it was only a select few people, but of course everybody else was helping with making the donations, getting the word out. But it was like a group of probably 10 people that was really into Dance Marathon. So I already have a philanthropy committee that we made, but I also made a Dance Marathon committee so that people around the chapter, if they didn't get on the philanthropy committee, they could still be a part of Dance Marathon and creating it and being a part of something bigger. So I looked up on Google Dance Marathon positions, and whoever wanted to apply, they did, and I gave them all a role to do and their jobs and everything like that. So if you're in that sort of environment, whether it be a student organization or a Greek life organization, I recommend looking up different roles that people can do in Dance Marathon and setting them like specific jobs that they need to work on. So for instance, one of the jobs was a dance relations chair. So they were basically in charge of the dance that we would do as a group on campus during Dance Marathon. So she created the dance that we would do. So that was what she worked on for the entire year. Another one was social media chair. So they would be working on the Facebook page, the Instagram page, and all that kind of stuff to ramp up the support online. So there's like different types of jobs that you can have for your members that they can do, so they're focused and they have specific things that they're doing, and they're not really asking you a whole bunch of questions because it's a lot to handle and having so many questions. That way they know exactly what they need to do and everything like that. So that's what I recommend, is just giving people a job and description so they can work on a few tasks throughout the year and it will keep them busy. Another successful thing that I did was, instead of just hosting Dance Marathon and fundraising through there, I hosted smaller fundraisers each month and gained money that way. So one month I did a t-shirt sale. I made like a Find Me shirt and sold it to not only our members, but like fraternity members as well. That did really well. In February I did Valentine's Day grams. So like we went to a store and got a whole bunch of candies and stuff, and people paid to have like a Valentine's Day gram like sent to a different fraternity or sorority, and that really helped us get closer as a Greek system. Those are just like small events that I had planned or that you can have planned. We did a toy drive. We participate in Kids Day every single year, so that's something else that we did, was participate in Kids Day, and then that money that we raised will go towards the total. Another thing that I did was contact local businesses, and I actually got 3 sponsorships from that. The biggest one we got was from Enterprise, and it was $5,000 for a sponsorship, which was amazing. The hospital actually forefunded that event, so they were the ones going out there and talking to Enterprise and got us a $5,000 sponsorship, which means they had a booth at our event, and we did a lot of sponsored posts for them and like included their logos and everything like that. So that was really awesome. I also got another sponsorship from Aetna and from Fresno EOC, and they also had booths on campus on our event. So it was really cool to have those kind of things and have more outreach and more people involved in this Dance Marathon. And I also contacted businesses for donations for an auction, because we actually had an auction at my event. So we had like over 50 people donate stuff, and I'll get more into that later when I talk about what the Bulldog-a-thon looked like last year. But just asking for like donations for a good cause, like usually businesses will donate to that, because it's usually like smaller items. They're not like huge items that they'll donate, depending on the business and like your relationship with them. But just reaching out, I literally contacted probably 100 businesses, and I got a lot of feedback back and a lot of donations back. So it's worth a try. Like, you know, just contact as many people as you can and just see what happens. We spread the word on social media a lot. We made an Instagram page, DM_FindYou. We made a Facebook page, Bulldog-a-thon. I made a website for it, which it doesn't really get used as well because it's a website and it's not really out there, but it's like something that I can keep all the totals on, so I can like see and pass it down to other chapter members. I went onto campus and posted a flyer in every single building, and Fresno State's campus is huge. So I walked all over campus, and it took me like 2 hours, and my feet hurt so bad afterwards, but it was something I needed to do. I posted just basic information about it, like where it was, when it was, that kind of stuff. And I also posted flyers about videographer and photographers that we needed for the event, and I got a lot of information back from people. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, like post flyers around campus, especially if you're gonna pay them. A lot of students need jobs, so that was a good way to make extra money for them, was to post something about that kind of stuff. So you can post, like if you need a DJ, if you need a photographer, a videographer, if you need a dance group to participate, like just post flyers around campus, because they're usually the ones that a lot of students look at. So now I'm going to talk about what Bulldog-a-thon, my dance marathon that I did, exactly what it looked like. So I actually had children from the hospital come to the event and tell their stories with their families. I think it's a good way to connect what you're doing back to the event, because if you actually have the children from the hospital come to your event and speak and show pictures of them. I had a variety of games and activities around the gym. I had like ping pong and like a punch hole thing where like you punch in the hole and you get like prize out. We had volleyball and basketball on. We have this giant hope sign that we taped onto the wall, and you would like write something on a sticky note and put it in to like create hope. We had a net where you would put a ribbon on. It was a prayer net for all of the children that were lost this year from, you know, whatever they had. So we had a little prayer net to put on there, and then we would give the net to the hospital. We had face painting again, and we had an auction, and we had different things like that. So just have a lot of games and activities around the room, so you're not just dancing, you have different things to interact with, different things to do, because I know at times it can get boring just to stand there and dance. So if you have activities and games around the gym or around wherever you're doing it, it just gives more opportunities to participate in new things. We had dance groups come and perform at a talent show. I had a folklorical group come, and we had a hip hop group come, and then we did our like main dance. So if you have dance groups on campus that are well known, like try to get them there to dance, because it is a dance marathon, so they can either show off their dance moves, make more awareness to their club. You know, we provided free pizza and drinks and snacks throughout the entire event. So, you know, provide food, because sometimes if you're doing a long time, ours was only 6 hours, so it wasn't really long, but if you do a 24-hour dance marathon, like you're gonna want food and snacks there for people. You can either charge them for it or you can have it free. We just had it free since it was our only second event, and free food honestly brought more people to the event. So if you tell people that there's free food, especially college students, they're gonna come to get free food. And I also contacted Kona Ice, shaving ice truck, to come, and they came to sell their Kona Ice. So it was like $4 to $8 depending on the cup size that you got, and then half the proceeds went to us. So that's another way you can donate, is getting food trucks on your campus to come, or food trucks in your community to come and negotiate something where they can give half the profit back to the program. So that's another way to bring food into it, where they can, it's optional, they can pay, but we also had free food for people who probably couldn't pay to have that done. Like I said before, with the sponsorships, we had their businesses bring their booths to campus. So more of the information was just about what their program is and what they do around the community. But if you want to bring your campus involvement more into it, like get student involvement out there, you can get recruitment out there for campus, since a lot of these students may come from high school that are coming to the event, so they can recruit you know, new students to whatever university you're at. And just like different types of booths around your event, so that people can go and interact with them as well. We sold raffle tickets for the auction, and we also had a merchandise table. So the merchandise table had like shirts and stickers and water bottles and stuff like that. You can have different things that you want to sell. I recommend keeping it smaller if you are a smaller program, because if you have too much merchandise and not enough people coming in and buying, you're gonna waste a lot of product. So for the raffle, we had a lot of different things from different companies. I had food, like tickets or food gift cards from like Jamba Juice. We had some for Rubio's. There was like 25 free kids meals that I actually gave to the families that came. There was movie tickets, spa tickets, and then there was just a lot of little things like little baskets and stuff that local companies made. But the biggest prizes that we had were Derek Carr from the Raiders. Derek Carr signed a jersey and signed football. Derek Carr does a lot for Valley Children, so we were able to get him not only to donate his signed stuff, but he made a video about Dance Marathon, about Bulldogathon for us. So like I'll insert that clip so you can see it.
We are excited that all of you are here at Fresno State supporting Bulldogathon and Valley Children's Hospital. It is because of you that Valley Children's is able to help every kid and their family that enters into hospitals and clinics. Thank you for your support. Remember, it's for the kids.
So yeah, so Bulldogathon was amazing event that I hosted with everybody, and it was honestly probably the best thing I've ever done in my life. I'm only 21, but it was probably the greatest moment that I've had in my life. I felt so amazing after the event was done, and all the hard work that I had for the past year, it paid off, and we raised a lot of money and we helped a lot of children and families, so it was a really great feeling to have. So some advice that I have to make your dance marathon more successful, or just getting more people out there, is to reach out to as many people as possible. Like I said, local businesses, your people on campus, Greek life, just different organizations. Just talk to as many people as you can. The more people you talk to, the more likely they'll be going to your event. So just talk to as many people out there. Post as much as you can on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever you have. Like, post everything about your dance marathon. Don't be afraid to talk to your campus's main resources. I actually had a meeting with our Vice President of Student Affairs, and he ended up paying for our gym rental, the entire thing, for the 6 hours we were there. So that helped us save a lot of money, because we have a budget for each position on our philanthropy and FIMU, so each position has a certain amount of money they can spend. So with him, sponsoring us and paying for the gym, it helped us a lot. So talk to those campus resources. Get a meeting with the president of your campus to try to get more outreach, number one, but you're gonna get, they're gonna respect you more for having meetings with them and like really bringing this event higher into your campus. Talk to your student government and see if there's any grants that you can apply to help your event, and or just getting more outreach to the students around campus. This one is really important for the smaller programs, but to set a reasonable goal. Don't try to set like an $1,000 goal or a $100,000 goal on your first time that you're doing this. Like, it's not gonna work. So try to set a reasonable goal that you know that you can maintain and that you can accomplish, and then if you go beyond, even better. And my last advice is just to set up meetings any way you can. Meetings help. So whether it be with the president of a Greek organization, philanthropy chair, or whatever, your campus leaders, high schools, businesses, companies, t-shirt sale people, like anything that you can use for Dance Marathon, set up a meeting. It's way better to have a conversation face to face than like over the phone or over email. Like, you want to show them why you're passionate. Make a presentation and bring it with you. That's what I did. I had like a 10, 13 page presentation with videos in it and stats and all that kind of stuff that I would take to meetings and show people. That way, if they don't have any clue what Dance Marathon is, I answer every single question. I show them a real life story that's involved with it. I give them ideas of what the Dance Marathon that I was hosting was going to look like. So make a presentation and like go and show them what you're made of, and just really get out there for outreach. So try to set up as many meetings as you can. And my main takeaway from hosting a Dance Marathon, it was literally the best experience that I've ever had. It changed my life. It made me a better leader, not only for myself, but in my chapter and like in my community. It felt amazing to be a part of, and the best thing, knowing that you're helping children and families, it was a life-changing event. So if you have an opportunity to be involved in a dance marathon, do it. Go observe a dance marathon, go participate, and then if you have a chance, help run a dance marathon. It will change your life. So if you guys have any questions about what I did specifically and you need help for your program, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm always here to answer questions. I love to answer questions. I have a lot of information. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.